Road playoff win out of the way. The Bills once again moving on to the divisional round. They got the top-seeded Broncos up next. I'm Kevin Carroll. Welcome to the Buffalo End Zone podcast. We got a busy one.
We are proudly presented by Toyota. Yes, Kevin, we are busy. I'm Andy Young. We got a lot going on this week. Short week for the Bills. Not much rest. Pretty banged up. But some health maybe getting better on the horizon that could be a sign of good things to come.
And that's the whole thing, Andy. Looking at where we were at this time last week going into the Jacksonville game, a lot of negativity out there, a lot of hand-wringing. I don't think the Bills can get past Jacksonville. They did it. They took care of that. A lot of us said that might be their toughest matchup. But now you're going into a Denver Broncos team that when you start digging into it, Andy, looks just as tough as an opponent. Maybe not on the offensive side of the ball, but sure enough on the defensive side of the ball. And like you said, the Bills dealing with injuries, but also getting healthy bodies back. So we'll see how this all plays out. But that wide receiver room, Andy, has gotten the crap knocked out of it. From people saying that they're not talented enough to now literally they don't even have half the bodies there anymore.
Yeah, right now they're down to, on the active roster, 3 healthy wide receivers. Just massive blows on back-to-back days. So coming out of the Jaguars win on Sunday, Monday it's announced by Sean McDermott that Gabe Davis has a torn ACL. He's done for the year. Tuesday it's announced by Sean McDermott Tyrell Shavers also has a torn ACL, and he's done for the year. So right now that leaves Brandon Cooks, Keon Coleman, and Khalil Shakir as the healthy receivers on the active roster at this point. And what can you say about Shavers? Just a heart and soul guy of this team this year. We know the story coming out of training camp, worked hard the last couple of years on the practice squad to get his shot to make the 53-man roster, does the job on special teams, does all the dirty work in the running game, showed some flashes, too, at times in the receiving game for all the warts that the Bills receivers have this season. And he goes out there on a return, tears his ACL, and continues to play the game for the entire second half on a torn ACL. And to a man, we talked to Josh Allen, we talked to Sean McDermott, Brandon Cooks, all these different guys. On Tuesday, they're amazed at the remarkable nature of Tyrell Shavers being able to play and gut out a torn ACL in a playoff game and play more than a half that way.
And when Sean McDermott makes the announcement that that's his injury, not a gasp or anything, but the entire media room when Sean McDermott said that was like, wait, what?
Right.
That doesn't add up. And when you look at some of the stuff that Shavers was doing in the second half, it's even more incredible. He wasn't just a body out there.
Yeah, and now his season is done, as is Gabe Davis's. So they're going to have to go elsewhere in the wide receiver room. Good news on that front. Some good news, potentially. Curtis Samuel, on injured reserve. He's been there for a while now.
Yeah.
He practiced in full with his elbow injury. He's been on IR. He could return this week, potentially, and they probably are going to need him.
They're going to need it. When you see that he practiced in full, to me, that's a sign that they know they're going to need him. I think he's going to be out there. Who else do you have? They went and added Christian Wilkerson to the practice squad.
And Mecole Hardman is on the practice squad as well. So you could call those guys up. One of them probably at least will get called up for the game. And then they'll see what they do with Samuel, if he's good to go or not.
And we can't even move past this without talking about the Keon Coleman saga this entire season, where he was benched, he was disciplined, he's now back, and now he looks to be, if the Bills are going to get to the Super Bowl, he's going to have to play a role and be out there performing.
He's their number 3 receiver right now. There's no doubt about it in my mind. And so you look at Cooks, who's been pretty solid for the most part. The numbers aren't eye-popping, but you've seen the difference. You've seen him get open. You've seen him make some big plays, including against Jacksonville, a 36-yard catch. Shakir, we know what Shakir is. He's as steady as it goes.
Coleman with a 36-yarder, too.
Well, that's it. Coleman comes in and gets a 36-yard catch. He's kind of wide open on the play, looked like a blown coverage.
Right.
But then he makes a guy miss and extends the play even longer. And Josh Allen said it. We're going to need him. We're going to need him to step up. Sean McDermott said it. We need more out of Keon Coleman and everybody in that room to step up, given what they're dealing with right now at the worst possible time that you could be dealing with it. However, on the bright side, or on a positive note, if you want to take it this way, they've been dealing with wide receiver injuries and guys in and out of the lineup because of performance or because of, in Keon's case, punishment all season long. So it's not like Josh Allen isn't used to throwing to a bunch of different guys week to week throughout the course of the season. I mean, you've had Elijah Moore, you've had Joshua Palmer, Gabe Davis, Tyrell Shavers, all these guys. Mecole Hardman was in there for a brief moment.
This is like the linebacker position
Yeah.
of 2 years ago when you got to the playoffs and it was like a linebacker just got injured. It seemed like every ding-dong day, and then eventually it just caught up with them. For those wondering, of course, hey, how's Josh Allen doing? He's our quarterback. He got the ever-living crap knocked out of him down in Jacksonville. We assume he's just going to be limited all week with how banged up he is. Foot injury, finger injury, knee injury, he's all dealing with.
And guess what he said?
He's good.
He said he's the best he's felt in weeks.
Okay.
I mean, he's probably blowing some smoke there. But at the same time, that guy is kind of a freak. He may actually feel better when he's knocked around a little bit because that's just the kind of player he is. Someone asked him about where his toughness comes from. I mean, you see him going to the medical tent twice during the course of that game, and he said, I kind of just grew up a farm boy. It's kind of the life I lived. I'm a big guy, love the game more than anything, want to be out there for my guys, and that's kind of how I've always been. Well, he's shown it all throughout the course of this season. Plus, he got his head wrong, too.
Right.
He was checked for a concussion in that game. So that's really 4 injuries if you're taking into account being evaluated for a head injury. He never ceases to amaze. We talked about it a lot on Sunday. We talk a lot about it every single week, but that guy is just a warrior.
Old school throwback. Monty Python's Holy Grail, where the knife just gets every limb chopped off of him, and he's going, just a flesh wound. That's how you picture Josh Allen if they get to the Super Bowl.
He's like the Terminator.
They just roll him out there on game day, get him ready to go, and away he goes, because we'll get into the matchup with the Broncos a little bit, but things aren't going to get much easier for that offense as they move forward in this divisional round. But before we get to that, Andy, we mentioned reinforcements might be coming. That includes Ed Oliver, too,
right?
Who we spoke to after practice. He was not full go, but
he was limited in practice, but he is practicing now. His 21-day window is open as well.
And he looks like he really missed playing and wants to get out there.
You were there. What did he have to say?
I mean, it's like everything with the injuries. I'm going to take it one day at a time throughout the week, see how I am at the end of the week. At the end of the day, it's up to the coaches. But, in talking to him, he said, out of all the guys on the team, I'm probably one of the freshest right now.
Right.
Because I haven't been out there playing. And he said he missed being out there playing with his teammates out there and just wants to get back in the mix. So if you ask me,
and he's their best defensive lineman.
It's win or go home at this point. I think if Ed Oliver is close to going, he's going.
Yeah, I mean, to me it comes down to, can he hold up strength-wise, both in his pec, and he's also had a knee cleanup, a meniscus cleanup, while he was on IR dealing with the pectoral injury as well. Or the bicep, rather. It was a bicep for Ed. Can that bicep hold up strength-wise to the rigors of what he needs to do? I don't think he's worried necessarily about pain or anything like that. It's right. Does he, stack up to a lineman and it just can't go? Does he reach out to try to grab a guy and it just can't go strength-wise? And it's going to be interesting this week to see how he does because it's such a short week. They're probably not going to do a whole lot in terms of heavy lifting in practice because of the short turnaround, because of the nature of the injuries and where we are in the season. So it's all right, it kind of got to go off what the doctors say structurally and then what he's saying physically to make a decision on him. But if he can go and he's somewhere close to what Ed Oliver can be and what he was playing like earlier in this season before he went on injured reserve, that's a big lift for the Bills.
Yeah, absolutely. And Andy, you can't overlook, too, getting Ed Oliver back in with some of those young guys and the reps that they had been getting with him out.
Yeah.
Now gives that rotation even a bigger sense of a burst for this team going up against Denver.
Yeah, you're talking about T.J. Sanders, Fedarian Mathis, Deion Walker, and, of course, Daquan Jones has been there as the vet presence throughout. He's dealt with injuries, too, so to get him back in the lineup at Oliver would be massive. I mean, they're still dealing with injuries elsewhere. Jordan Poyer, he's week to week and didn't practice. Ty Johnson not practicing still. Maxwell Hairston still not practicing.
Safety position might be a concern.
Yeah, Damar Hamlin did practice in full. He's also coming off IR, so maybe you turn back to Damar Hamlin if you don't think that you're good enough with Jordan Hancock out there, or moving things around with Cam Lewis at the safety position on defense. So some good, some bad as far as injuries go for the Bills right now.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, coming up next, we're going to dive into the matchup itself here. Like we said, this defense is going to be another tough nut. Offense not quite operating like Jacksonville's offense was heading into the postseason.
But can still cause problems.
Yeah, and again, Andy, this is a rematch from last year's wild card round. So while the Bills didn't take on the Broncos this year, there's a bit on the bone there that you can take from last year's playoff game. I wouldn't say a ton, but there's still something there.
I mean, they beat them 31-7. They allowed the touchdown on the opening drive, I think it was, right? Or early in the first quarter.
Long bomb right down the middle of the
to Troy Franklin from Bo Nix.
Right.
And then after that, it was all Bills. 31-7 the final. Bills kind of rolled and cruised throughout the course of that game. I mean, there are some things you can take from that. We talked all last season leading up into that wild card game about the Denver Broncos defensive line and Patrick Surtain and all of those things, the problems that they present defensively. And we also talked about Sean Payton, Super Bowl winning coach, and Bo Nix was a first-year quarterback, now a second-year quarterback, and we see the jump that those kind of guys can make. But their offense isn't humming quite as much as they would want to hope. They're fine. They're good. They're kind of upper middle of the pack as far as offensive statistics go. Courtland Sutton is a good receiver. Troy Franklin, as we mentioned, different guys out there. But I don't think it's an unstoppable force. And the Bills' defense, for all its issues, has been playing really well the last 2-3 months relatively to what they had been.
All right, we're going to get into that all after a quick break. This is the Buffalo End Zone Podcast. Welcome back, everyone. Let's dive into it, Andy. We're talking about the Bills' offense against a really good Broncos defense. We started to touch on it last break, but this thing, you and I both mentioned this. We're talking about a pass rush. We're talking about 68 sacks on the season, Andy.
Far and away the league leader in sacks.
The team closest to them is the Falcons with 75.
57, you mean?
57.
We got that. They're second, and they've got 7 more. No, they are everything is advertised. Like, we talked about Houston's defense earlier this year and how good they are. Different kind of style of defense here, but, man, they've got pass rushers. Zach Allen, Jonathan Cooper, John Franklin Myers is getting healthy. I mean, they just have guys across the board. Nick Bonito, I didn't even mention him, obviously. I mean, so good. Bills kind of handled them a little bit last year, though. And so that gives you some hope that they can do so again. But, man, oh, man, Josh Allen taking more sacks than he has since, I think,
that's the concern.
2018, 2019, right?
Right.
He's taking sacks, I believe, on 8% of his dropbacks this season. That's a ton. Did a better job last week. I think the Jaguars only sacked him once. But this is a whole different animal in the Denver Broncos defense because those guys are going to get after you. They're fast. They're quick.
And you have Patrick Surtain.
Right.
And others back there. But again, Andy, I look at that and I remember all these concerns going into last year's game. Now, this game is not at Highmark Stadium. It is out in Denver. So that's going to be a different scenario for the Bills, but they got their road playoff win. They can stack onto that here. But that pass rush is a concern. And stats-wise, their run defense is pretty good too. I think they're second behind the Jaguars. But I remember that being a concern. And James Cook, I think, went close to 150 yards or 120 yards and a touchdown in last year's game.
Yeah, I mean, I think it might not be quite a tough a test run defense-wise for the Bills as last week was. I mean, Jacksonville shut the door on them last week.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, they hadn't given up a rusher over 75 yards all season long. And so, yeah, Cook in that game last year, 120 yards, 5.2 yards per carry on 23 carries. Allen rushed for 46 yards. Ty Johnson rushed for 44 yards. So if there's some sort of blueprint, something they unlocked last season, they probably want to try to go back to that at least early on to see if that will work against this Denver defense. That's key to slowing down that pass rush, because if Josh has to just sit back there all day long and feel the heat, that's not a good thing. Like, Allen is one of the best all time eluding that stuff.
Right.
But he's banged up. You don't want to see that, right? So if you can get the ground game going to slow that down a little bit and create some ability in the play action game as well, that would be a big deal.
And I love the Bills play when they're clicking on all that and the play action is working and the tight ends are getting open in the middle of the field. That's the offense that this is, 50-50 run pass. But if James Cook is ripping off yards and, we'll see what happens with Ty Johnson as the week goes on. But
big key for me is going to be Kincaid again. Knox and Kincaid, because of what the Bills are dealing with at wide receiver and have dealt with all season long, just in terms of production, talent, play calling, whatever it might be. The issues there are many, and we've logged them all. But Kincaid and Knox are key, and I think there are some yards to be had. There can be an advantage for the Bills against this Denver defense at tight end, similarly to what we thought going into the Jags game. And both those guys kind of late in the game made some big plays. Kincaid, of course, the touchdown. Knox had a big play down the field. So I think there's opportunities there as well. So if you're looking for places to attack, those are some of them.
How about this offensive line, Andy?
For the Bills?
Yeah, they've been together, last year they handled the Broncos.
Yeah. And
I don't see why this unit can't do the same thing. And, we look at some of the competition the Broncos went up against this year. And, I mean, it's almost like this across the board. You can say it about the Patriots. People can say it about the Bills, too. It's tough to nail down because there's not one team that you're looking at and you're like, they're going to the Super Bowl.
Right. I mean, you thought different parts throughout the year, like Bills start out 4-0. You think it's them, right? Then, the Patriots go on their roll. You think it's them, and then they have little bumps here and there. The Bills beat them, right, at one point. Jaguars were cruising. Ravens looked like they were full steam ahead.
Yeah.
On the NFC, the Rams, Eagles, Seattle, right? There's been these different paper champions throughout the course of the year that have been crowned, but now we're in the playoffs and nobody's really fully asserted themselves as a dominant team. Back to your point about the offensive line, I'll be interested to see how Joe Brady and Aaron Kromer, Bill's offensive line coach, dial up help for the offensive line in this, whether they use receivers to chip, tight ends, backs, different things to keep the Denver Broncos defensive line on its toes and not just, here, I'm going to line up across from my guy, maybe run a stunt, and I'm going to let my speed go win, right?
Bills defense has been playing well heading into the postseason, a solid game against the Jaguars. We're going to dive into the Bills defense going up against this Broncos offense with second-year quarterback Bo Nix. When we come back, this is the Buffalo End Zone Podcast. Welcome back, everyone. Bills defense last year in the wild card round, holding the Broncos to just 7 points. Bo Nix, a rookie, has another year under his belt, threw for more yards than Josh Allen this year. But I think where this Bills defense is right now and what we saw against a really hot Jacksonville offense, that this Bills defense can give them trouble as well.
The Bills' defense did a really nice job disguising coverages against the Jaguars, making it tough on Trevor Lawrence. And you saw Trevor Lawrence, while he did make some plays in the passing game, for most of the game looked kind of shaky. Did he not?
He did indeed.
Looked like he didn't know exactly where to go with the ball, a little bit hesitant. He's not wildly accurate. And you wonder if they can kind of do some of the same things to a second-year quarterback in Bo Nix, who did not have a good game against the Bills last year, was 13 of 22, 144 yards, sacked a couple of times. So, I mean, he's inconsistent, right? Like, he's capable of making plays. He does really well on the move. If he moves the pocket, if they bootleg, if he's scrambling, he can make some throws. But if the Bills can keep him contained in the pocket and then throw whatever coverages you can back there, I think that would go a long way. Now, one thing that hampers that is you don't have Jordan Poyer potentially. Mm-hmm. With him being week to week, I would doubt that he plays at this point. You never say never, but week to week never is really good diagnosis for the following week's game. So that kind of hampers things a little bit. But if they can do some of that kind of stuff with whomever is there next to Cole Bishop, I think that's big. Obviously, Trey White has been playing great. Benford is steady as ever. Benford, you don't really hear his name all that often because people just don't throw his way that much.
Yeah, absolutely. And when numbers-wise, looking at the Broncos, they're just middle of the road in both the passing game and the ground game going into this. So there's nothing there. I mean, there's always a concern with the ground game for me in the Bills that, you know, their poor run defense can rear its ugly head at any moment.
But I don't think this is a team, Kevin, that's going to, like, even if they break off some chunks, it'll be similar to, like, how Jacksonville was, where they broke off some plays and they were running the ball well, but that didn't dominate the game.
Right.
Like a Derrick Henry would or a Jonathan Taylor.
It's almost like you kind of want that.
Yeah.
If you're the Bills.
Well, and the Bills invite that, right? Like, we've talked for years that the Bills' defense – they're okay with giving up something in the run because that's, to them, the least damaging thing you can do, the least efficient way to score.
Right.
Is to just, all right, you want to nickel and dime us down the field, but we're not going to get beat up over the top, and if you want to run the ball all day, so be it, unless you're breaking off 80-yard runs, which they do from time to time give up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Bo Nix also, he's up there with fourth quarter comeback wins this season.
Yeah. They've had a lot of weird games.
I mean, the Giants one was crazy. That one sticks out to me. That
the Giants game, they beat the Jets 13-11. I think the Jets only had like 72 yards of offense.
There are some Broncos wins out there that just weren't impressive. In that game against the Giants, as I recall, the Giants were dominating them. And then the Giants shot themselves in the foot and allowed the Broncos back in it and eventually to take the lead. I just remember that game being pretty wild and Jackson Dart with an ill-advised pass towards the end of the game.
You want to know somebody who I think is going to be key and has sneakily been very good down the stretch here? Greg Rousseau.
Okay.
Limited in practice, but his last 4 games, 1 sack, half a sack, 2.5 sacks, 1 sack. For a guy that, like, we always clamor for more, Greg Rousseau, right? Like,
make a difference in a game.
He has. He was very good against Jacksonville.
Against the Browns, too.
Yeah, so, I mean, he's got 5 sacks in his last 4 games. He's coming on. Now, conversely, they need more out of Joey Bosa. Mm-hmm. And I know you love to bang this drum. Stop getting beat on those runs where you crash down and the guys go outside of him. Whether that's a quarterback run or an outside kind of run. He gets beat on that constantly. And I think McDermott said it this week, or Babbage maybe it was. It's Bobby Babbage. They need more out of Joey Bosa, right?
And I would think Bosa would say that it's frustrating, Andy, how often that has happened to him this year.
Yeah.
It's a talking point after every loss, after every game that It's just he's right there, and either the quarterback gets outside of him or the running back does.
Yeah, and this is the time of year you brought Bosa in for to be a difference maker.
Remember at the beginning of the year, we only need Joey Bosa for the postseason.
Right, bubble wrap him.
Bubble wrap Joey Bosa. Well, here we are. Now we're into the divisional round. So, okay, Joey, let's go.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Well, he should, right? This is his time to shine.
Absolutely. All right. We're going to take a quick break, get a check of the game day forecast out in the Mile High City. When we come back, this is Buffalo End Zone Podcast.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Gilson with the Bills and Broncos game day forecast on Saturday. Kickoff at 4:30, and it's not looking too bad weather-wise. Temperatures a little bit chilly to cool. If you're out tailgating early in the morning into the early afternoon, temperatures middle to upper 40s. By kickoff, temperatures will likely be in the lower 50s. We'll hold on to those clear and quiet skies. Sunset shortly after 5 o'clock. Temperatures hovering in the middle to upper 40s as the game goes along. So not looking too bad if you're making the journey out to the Mile High City.
Cool, Chris. Look at that, Andy.
Not too shabby this time of year for Denver, Colorado.
51 degrees. You're up there. You're close to the sun. I think if it's me and I'm a football player or I'm out there, I'll take one game in the 60s and one game starting in the 50s instead of being in Buffalo and it being 20 degrees with snow blowing around.
I'm excited to go to Denver. I've never been.
Denver's cool.
So that was one perk of this happening. If this matchup, I was like, yeah, I'd take a trip to Denver.
I've been to Denver once. Went to Red Rock, saw the Killers there.
Dude,
Red Rock's
nice.
Sweet.
That would be dope.
That was back in the day when my wife and I really had no money and had no business flying out, but she was a Southwest flight attendant.
But you had the free flights.
Right. We flew out for free, paid like $120 a night at a hotel, already paid for the tickets. So it was a blast. But the one thing that keeps getting brought up is,
Speaking of the weather.
well, the altitude.
Exactly.
It didn't bother me when I was out there,
Mm-hmm.
but I wasn't playing football.
You used to run back then. Did you go for a run in the mountains?
I didn't.
Okay.
That was pure vacation.
Yeah.
The only thing I remember is the mountains made me dizzy and disoriented, like driving towards the mountains.
Yeah.
And my wife said that that's moronic, and no, that's not a thing. So, but at any rate,
You're known to come up with little medical reasons for weird things that happen to you, though.
yeah, but I don't think the altitude is going to play that big of a role in this one. I mean,
No.
teams go in there and beat the Broncos all the time.
I mean, it's a thing. It's a little bit of a thing, but it's not like – it's like when you go to a warm weather city. Now, I'm not talking about that Dolphins game a few years ago where it was like 125 degrees on the field and humid.
Right.
So you have to acclimate yourself a little bit to it. I think they're aware of it, but they're not making a huge deal about it. It is what it is. Josh Allen played in Wyoming. I think the elevation is higher there than even
That's a valid point.
Mile High. So he said, we're aware of it. It's a little bit of a thing. McDermott knows about it. I'm sure sports science and training staff and medical staff are doing what they can behind the scenes, but I think the players said, we're not trying to really let that get into our heads. You get out there, it might be a little tougher to get your win, but you deal with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Things kind of changing as the week goes on here. Right now, the Bills +1, +1.5, depending on where you look.
They started out as favorites right after the game.
Right after the game, they were -1, I think.
Yeah.
And now
Because I saw a
things are
bunch of
changing.
people on like Denver radio and social media going, how dare, the betting world make the Broncos as the 1 seed, an underdog at home, just like
Right.
Jacksonville did last week. And now I think some of the injuries and things that have happened, the line has moved back to Denver.
I still say when you have the reigning MVP and the best quarterback in the postseason tournament,
That matters so much.
you deserve to be the favorite, even
Right.
if you're on the road.
Right. So, I mean, So that basically, if Denver's a 1.5 favorite, that means basically it's a 3-point game.
Right. Over under 46.5 in this one.
Well, last year was 31-7, so that went over.
Mm-hmm.
I've been saying the unders. I did hit on the under. I predicted the score last week, 27-24. It was 27-24.
Nailed it.
But I picked the Bills to lose.
Loser.
Mea culpa. But I did get the score right, so I'm going to say it goes over this week.
I'm going to take the over this week. I think this is going to be the Bills finding a way to get through the Broncos defense, and it's just going to be a little shootout there. I'm going something like 34-30.
Okay. I'm going to say more 28-24 Bills.
Okay. There you go. We'll see how it plays out, but we're both taking the Bills this time.
So when we get back to this next year, if there is a next year,
we'll
for
keep
us,
track of this.
We're going to keep track of our bad, as I've coined it now on X, bad betting advice.
Oh, horrible.
We're going to keep track of it and see how we do for the season. Maybe K-Man and I will bet a sandwich on it or something. Who comes out best at the end of the year?
That works for me, Andy. All right.
We'll make it a segment. Sponsors out there, if you're a sandwich shop, maybe you want to sponsor that segment next season. Think about it. Keep that in the back of your head for next fall.
Guess what we're going to do next segment, Andy? Talk about your favorite football team because they need a new head coach.
Yes.
Buffalo End Zone Podcast. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. Take a look around the NFL. The big news so far for teams not in the playoffs. 9 coaching spots open now around the NFL as Mike Tomlin steps down as Steelers head coach after the team lost a pretty ugly one to the Houston Texans on Monday Night Football this week.
After it looked like it was going to be a slugfest, a low-scoring slugfest early in that game, Houston kind of just rolled them.
Yeah.
And the Steelers didn't have an answer. This is one of those situations with Mike Tomlin that it's been a great marriage, but sometimes there's an expiration date.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't just go on and do this forever. Nothing wrong particularly happened. Sometimes it just, you need to try something new. And the way this is worded with him stepping down, resigning, stepping away, whatever that term is, kind of saves face for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
The Steelers are very proud of the fact that they've had 3 coaches.
Oh, yeah.
Since, like, the 60s, right?
Since I was born.
And don't fire coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And so the
and
Rooneys
get to the playoffs.
Right, and so the Rooneys are proud of that, so they don't want to be known as, hey, we fired Mike Tomlin. And Mike Tomlin doesn't want to be thought of as fired. He says, I'm taking a break, I'm stepping away. Whether he ends up somewhere else in the NFL or in a broadcast desk doing what we do, making a lot more than we do, that remains to be seen.
And there's other coaching options open like the Browns and the Ravens, Andy.
Wouldn't that be something? If he just goes, I don't know if anybody saw the Ravens press conference with the Ravens owner. He heard the news that Tomlin stepped down and said, well, is he on our list of candidates? That would be awesome. Wouldn't it be something if he went right over to the Ravens, or for that matter, the Browns, who have been a major rival of Pittsburgh forever?
Yeah.
That guy just seems like he belongs in that division.
Absolutely. And Harbaugh to the Steelers.
Sure. We just traded coaches.
Yeah. Make sense of it. But, yeah, so there's 9 open. I mean, Tomlin got to a Super Bowl and won it.
Harbaugh did.
In the playoffs every year.
Yeah.
But you're right. I just think, and we mentioned this with Harbaugh, too. It's just sometimes
it's time.
You're at the end of the line.
Right.
With something.
And it doesn't mean that, like, it went way off the rails. It just, we haven't lived up to the success that we have had under you for quite some time. Now it's time to move on. I think about, like, Andy Reid. He had some bad years his last year or two, I think, with Philly, and they moved on. But he had really good success. Went to a Super Bowl. Kept getting to AFC championships. And then it kind of bottomed out for them a little bit. And then it makes you wonder about the McDermott case and the people that are saying, at what point is McDermott's expiration date up? I don't think that's anytime soon.
I was debating bringing
no
that up
plans
because I
there,
didn't want to get into that, but that time will come for sure.
It comes whether you win or not, right? Like Super Bowl winning coaches get canned all the time.
Yep.
Mike McCarthy got let go. Think about all the guys. Sean Payton left, right? Like all these guys, they don't just stay one place typically for 30 years, no matter how successful you are.
Except Bill Belichick.
And then he unceremoniously left as well.
Yep, and now the Patriots are back in the divisional round. Houston Texans, Andy, they are the other team that's been a thorn in the Bills' side. So here they are. They have the early game out in New England on Sunday. Patriots coming off a game where they beat the Chargers, but my initial reaction was Drake May looked like a quarterback in his first playoff game and was unsettled early in the game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be really interested to see how Drake May and that Patriots offense fares against what we all saw here in Western New York is a ferocious Houston Texans defense. And Chargers have a decent defense too, and they gave Drake May some problems. So it would not stun me if Houston goes up there and wins. I'm not sold on C.J. Stroud.
Right, that's going to be
what's going on offensively. Nico Collins hurt, so that makes it interesting too. But I could see that game going either way.
Yeah, low-scoring game probably. Rams at Bears as we go to the NFC.
That's going to be fun.
I still don't get the Bears. I just can't see them advancing. The Rams have been so good, but it's the Bears, man. They're at home.
There's something weird about that team this season. Caleb Williams, the way they came back against the Packers.
Yeah.
I love Ben Johnson, and he's a great offensive.
Take your shirt off then. No?
No. We're going to keep it PG here.
49ers at Seahawks is the other one. Seahawks, the other top seed. This should be a really good game with all those teams going back and forth for the top seed. The Seahawks ultimately get the home games.
Yeah, I just wonder when the steam runs out for San Francisco with all the injuries. They're kind of like the Bills, though.
Yeah.
Like, how do they continue to deal with all these injuries? Now Kittle, right?
Yeah, that stinks, too.
Right, like, when do they just run out of steam completely there?
Yep.
But, I mean, Kyle Shanahan, tip of the cap to that guy because every year it seems like they have massive injuries to huge stars, and they're still pretty darn good.
Yep, absolutely. All right, we're going to take a quick break, do a little 3 and out, and call it a week.
All right.
Welcome back to Buffalo End Zone, everyone. Buffalo in the title. We can start talking more about the Buffalo Sabres, Andy, as their season rolls along. As we sit here and record this podcast, they are in the final wild card spot in the Eastern standings, which is something that hasn't happened in a very long time. It's probably going to change within the next couple of days as they come off a loss, but they got back-to-back games coming up. So this team has really turned it around.
I think they've won 13 out of 15. It was 13 out of 14
right
going into that last loss to Florida.
Yep.
And that's going to be kind of the test is how do you play against teams like that play that style. That's the kind of playoff hockey you're going to see down the stretch, kind of that hard, grinding game. Can the Sabres win in that kind of game? I mean, they hung with the Panthers, no doubt about it. I mean, there's no reason, barring injuries, this team can't continue to be at least in this contention, in this spot, the rest of the way. I mean, if they fall out now, that's a huge disaster. I'm not expecting that to happen, and this just has a different look, but we'll see.
Also, Sabres hosting the NHL draft coming up in June. That was announced this week.
Yeah, that was pretty cool when they had it how long ago was it now? 2016, something like that?
It all blurs together.
It was Alex Nylander's draft when they hosted the draft because I was there covering it. And that was cool. It's decentralized now, so there won't be all the prospects there, but I think some of them will still be there.
Photo shoot down by the Navy Yard and all that fun stuff.
Yep.
Meantime, golf's about to start back up, Andy, and Brooks Koepka back on the PGA Tour as we sit here and wait for some of these other guys to find their way back after getting their bag of cash, and now they can go back to the PGA.
Yeah, though I think I saw something right before we started recording that DeChambeau and Rahm and somebody else said they were going to stay on LIV.
Okay.
But that whole thing has been a mess.
It has. And the criteria to come back is, I can't, off the top of my head, I think you had to have won a major or something.
In the last, since 21 or something. But
yeah,
I think
the last 5 years.
Our buddy Jay Skursky was talking with somebody, and he's a big golf guy. His son's an incredible golfer from the Buffalo News, Jay Skursky. He was talking about, like, it looked like they set it up just so that Phil couldn't come back. Like, Phil Mickelson just didn't meet the criteria because he was kind of the banner waiver for LIV at the start.
Oh, God. I hadn't seen that yet, but it sounds like something that's probably.
I just miss all those guys on the tour. It's just better when you have.
It's so much better. And I tried, Andy, to watch some of the LIV events.
I didn't watch one.
First of all, wearing shorts out there really takes you out of it.
Because it makes it look like it's us.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So I just, and there's music playing and stuff. It didn't.
Which also makes it sound like it's us.
Exactly. Get that music playing on your golf cart.
Little cigar, you're good to go.
All right, Andy, what you watching?
Dude, this has been a bad week for me with the road trips, and I've just been watching sports.
You would say that.
We went to SmackDown with my son in Buffalo a couple weeks ago now, so that was cool. So we watched wrestling. I've been watching sports, and how about you? A little Columbo action?
Still, I'm not watching anything different.
Yeah? Tubi?
Columbo, Renegade, Dog the Bounty Hunter. The one thing I do this time of year is I like to go on YouTube and watch the Madden simulations of the playoff games. They're like an hour long. I think I was doing this last year too.
Yeah.
It's like lazy man. Like, I don't want to play Madden.
Okay.
I just want to watch it.
So not what you're watching, but what you're playing. I do have Madden for the Switch 2.
Oh, it's about time.
I got it last summer, so I've had it for a while, but I just got back into it again a little bit, and I did a few different games of like the Bills versus the Jags. And then I forgot to put the Bills as the road team, so I went back and did it again.
Oh.
And I smashed with the Bills over the Jags.
I will say this, Andy.
So now I got to play with the Bills Broncos.
Yeah, you got to do it. I did a Bills season with the sole reason of seeing if they had the new stadium going into the next year.
Yeah.
So I finished the season, lost in the Super Bowl, went through the draft and all that stuff, and it was still the regular Highmark Stadium.
Oh, come on.
I thought there would be an outside chance the designers would throw in a treat and be like, because, I mean, there's mocked up versions of the new Highmark.
Right. That would be cool. That would be really cool.
But alas, it did not happen.
Hopefully they have a swimming pool in the new Highmark like Jacksonville Stadium.
Yeah, that'll be nice in December.
Party deck.
Bills at the Broncos, 4:30 coming up on Saturday. Anything else to add, Andy?
As always, if you're watching us on YouTube, Facebook, anywhere else, listening to us, wherever you get your podcasts, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, give us a rating. Let us know what you want to hear about.
As always, thanks for joining us, everyone.